Thank you. It's so great to see everybody the end of the year. So usually at the end of the year, we do just kind of some planning for next year and some general updates. So we'll have a little bit more conversation back and forth today than what we normally do probably. Jessica's helping let people in and manage the chat. So just let me know if I missed something. Just gonna do the standard introduction for y'all. So if you get kicked out for some reason or have poor internet quality, the invitation that you got from Zoom should have a one-tap call-in, so you can call in and listen in. We are having conversations mostly today, so it'd probably be just as easy to listen in and contribute that way, since there's not a lot of presentations or graphics or anything. Again, just some housekeeping functions. Please keep yourself muted unless you're talking. We're going to do some small group breakout sessions. So just make sure that you're contributing in those small groups. The video helps with communication, especially with the small group breakout sessions, so you can see your partners. Also, you can click on participants and see everybody else who's in the meeting. We have about 23 people now. You can chat. At this point, please put your name and your organization in the chat so that it helps us keeping minutes and knowing who attends which meetings. So our meeting format for 2024, we're going to meet on the third Tuesday at 1 to 2:30. So that's a change. This will be our last meeting that's on the second Monday of the month. And again, the goal is to network cross functional areas or cross sectors so that we have people from private nonprofits here like Via Mobility Services or Our Center. We also have private for-profit organizations like Z-Trip, and then government programs from the different municipalities like senior centers and Boulder County specific organizations. And we also have RTD usually attends. And really, we work on advancing the mobility and access for all ages and abilities plan. We have presentations so that everybody's aware of what projects are going on within the whole community. So we'll have presentations from different municipal transportation projects and just make sure that we're all kind of in the loop on what's going on. And then also we'll do project updates on just advancing transportation priorities for underserved folks. Really, we focus on transportation as a social determinant of health. We believe that transportation access allows people to access opportunity, improve their quality of life, and meet their basic needs. We want people to have multiple backup options for transportation so they're not as vulnerable. So we believe that people can be in the safe and thriving section of like if they have multimodal transportation options and various options as backups. Here's our agenda for today. We'll start with an icebreaker breakout session, small groups. We'll do some updates. We'll turn it over to the organizations to provide us some updates on what you all have planned for 2024. And then we'll dig into some work plan issues or work plan planning. So we'll talk about what panel discussions we want to see for next year and what presentations do we all know of that are coming up that we want to make sure that we get on our agenda. Does anybody have a question about our agenda before we get started? Okay. So for the breakout session, we'll go ahead and say what's your name, what's your organization, and what's your favorite holiday tradition. It can be any holiday tradition. It could be, you know, something for St. Patrick's Day, 4th of July. It could be Christmas, Hanukkah, whatever it is. So we'll have about 10 minutes just to kind of chit chat with everybody in your breakout sessions. And then we'll just randomly assign people to the breakout rooms. So we have about 25 people. So we'll probably, what's that?
Oh, I was gonna say if we do 5 breakout rooms, we can have 4 or 5 participants per room.
Perfect. Okay, so I will go ahead and open up the breakout rooms now. Hi, how are you, Wade? We're doing breakout sessions, just discussion to get to know everybody. There's name, organization, and your favorite holiday tradition. So we're going to go ahead and assign you to a breakout room.
Well, apparently Stephanie's family is Italian, and I liked her story about they don't want to share their recipes. And so she's trying to learn, she tried to learn like her mom was making spaghetti or whatever, the Italian food, and she would try to watch, but she's like, I still don't know how to do it, and it's not written down. It's like their secret recipe.
That's great. Yeah, my grandma has
Mhm.
some secret recipes, and so I don't
That's
know when
awesome.
we are actually going to get access to them, but yeah.
That's great.
Anybody else have any good holiday traditions that they want to share? I'll wait for at least one more, so.
Mhm.
Lindsay loves cooking.
Yours involves cooking too?
No, Lindsay loves cooking.
Oh, Lindsay. Yeah, Lindsay,
Mhm.
what are you going to cook for us next time we get
Yeah,
together?
that's what I was wondering too.
Okay, yes. So for Christmas, I'm making beef bourguignon and a Black Forest chocolate cake and whatever sides.
Ooh.
New Year's is a little bigger. See, I was going to say in terms of traditions, Rebecca reminded us if you're giving a transportation device to anybody that it should come with a helmet. So I think that's important for this group. Thank you, Rebecca.
That's a good one.
That is good. If you buy a bike for your loved ones, make sure they have a helmet to go with it. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you so much. And sorry for the timer snafu. I appreciate y'all taking initiative and calling me into the group. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen again. So we have just a few Mobility for All updates. So Jessica, I'll go ahead and turn it over to you for the Mobility Hero Award nominations.
Yes, thank you. Some of you may remember that last year we did something similar where we had a survey and we were calling for people to nominate your favorite bus drivers or transportation professionals. So this year we want to do the same. We want to acknowledge drivers for 2023. So if you have a moment, you should consider going to this link that I'm going to put in the chat and nominate your favorite transportation hero or mobility hero. That's how we're calling them. We also have press release that went out just last week. So we are looking for nominations in different categories. We had a few already. We have about 28 responses so far. So that's pretty good after the press release was sent out. We have a good amount of nominations for bus drivers, but we're in for-profit drivers, I believe. But if you have a favorite school bus driver or mechanic, crew member, safety professional, or volunteer driver, that would be great if you can add that to the survey. If you don't have a favorite driver for all of the different categories that we have, we just say no, and then you can move to the next one. For the deadline, I think by the end of the year, by the end of December will be good. And then the good thing, and something that might interest you into adding your responses, is that we're going to create driver appreciation campaign. So we're looking for vendors to help us create great social media content to then put it on our social media channels. So if you want your organization, or if you know somebody who we can really learn from a lot, you should nominate them so that we can interview them, and then we can create a campaign that's help us create a positive perception of public transit, and then also appreciate our drivers and help with the driver shortage. So yeah, please nominate somebody. And I think that's all for me.
Yeah. Any questions for Jessica on the Mobility Hero Awards? I know that they were well received during the 10th anniversary celebration, and it was a good way to acknowledge people who don't normally get acknowledged. So we wanted to continue
That's
that.
awesome. What do they get? Like when they, like if they win, like if they're nominated, I guess I'm just curious, like what did they, like they get put in a video? Is that what it is?
Yeah, so
Nice.
we will try and select some to get interviewed, and then they will be part of the campaign. So they will be part of the face of the campaign. And last year we also gave them what's the name? Like like a trophy, but it was crystal. It was very cool, and a certificate. So yeah, I think
That's so
what they're
cool.
doing. Yeah.
And a little pen that said like service something or other. So I think we have some pens that we can,
That's so
Mhm.
cute.
yeah,
I
but I think
love
it'd be good.
Nice.
Wonderful. Any other questions for Jessica? Okay, great. Thank you, Jessica. I'll go ahead and turn it over to Cami for the e-bike safety campaign toolkit. Do you want me to stop sharing so you can share your screen, Cam?
It's okay. I don't have anything to share today. I'll just give a verbal update. But many of you in the MAC are probably already aware of this. Either you were a part of the active work group that was developing an e-bike safety campaign, especially it came up as in response to a need that the school district had identified, especially BBSD, with so many more young e-bike riders and the challenges that they were facing like on school property with more either crashes into each other or near misses. So principals and parents and staff were calling for help with what do we do about e-bikes. So we've created an e-bike safety messaging campaign. Those of you that have been part of the work group have received the flyers and the social media squares. There's been a delay in getting this published online, but it will be as soon as possible. All of the elements are available and ready. We're just waiting for it to be published online, meaning our youth transportation webpage will host all of the toolkit pieces, and then anyone will be able to use them. And that will be English and Spanish flyers, English and Spanish social media squares, English and Spanish messages that are associated with the flyer and the social media squares, as well as we went out and did an e-bike photo shoot to get youth riders because there just wasn't really any available either to purchase or to share yet. So we did an e-bike campaign in partnership with our Oscar, our Office of Sustainability here at the county. So all of that is available to any of you. But I was going to ask if you want to be on my next email out to that work group to be able to get the direct link. It'll be, we can share it in the MAC, but you can also put your name in the chat. Just put e-bike if you want to be added to my kind of e-bike list of partners and holders that I'm keeping in the loop.
Hello, Moto.
There we go. So I'll just say that if you want to be added to my list for e-bike stakeholders, go ahead and put your name in the list just with maybe e-bike by your name, and I can add you to my list for direct distribution as well. But it will definitely go out through the MAC network as well. So if you get our MAC newsletters, you'll for sure get it too. So I think everyone here won't be left out of the information share.
Yeah, great. Thank you, Cami. And it was a really great effort that Cami led for this. I don't know if you all have had to work with the bike enthusiasts before, but it is hard to get everybody to agree on things. I see Elaine nodding in agreement, or maybe not. So Cami did a wonderful job, like basically balancing everybody's perspectives and making sure that it was like a holistic, thoughtful campaign for safety. So thank you, Cami, for all your work on that.
You're welcome. But thank you to everyone else sort of on the MAC who contributed, who also helped with that. So
Yeah.
I needed the Elaines and the Darcys and the rest of you to help
Yeah.
balance as well. So thank you to everybody who participated.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, so the last quick update that we have for Mobility for All is a couple of years ago, we started doing kind of a city options flyer for Boulder County Housing Authority sites. So basically it's the top transportation modes for each of the housing authority locations. So we're updating this and we have one, I'll go ahead and show you. This is an example. This one is like getting around Louisville. And we just talk about like what bus routes are there, how much it costs. We have QR codes on all of them, Access-a-Ride, biking, flex ride, mobility, via mobility services, car share, ride hailing, and then we have more information options for the Boulder County mobility options page. So we've tailored this because there's not all options at all locations. And we have 7 different municipalities that we're working on creating these for. We'll send them out to everybody once we have a Spanish and English version, but we have one for Boulder, Lafayette, Longmont, Louisville, Lyons, Netherland, and then Niwot as well. And so obviously some of the smaller cities like Niwot, they don't have a ton of like local options, but we basically are just including things that would be locally beneficial for folks. And the design of this actually was done with, I don't know if you all remember Ana Colon, who was one of our outreach and engagement specialists. She worked with a CU Boulder design team in order to do a human-centered design project. And so they basically came to an agreement on this design, which I think is really easy to read and also like really dynamic. You can access the information on your phone. So right now we are getting these translated, and then we will send them out to you all once they're ready. And then we're also creating posters for the housing authority sites. And if anybody else wants to consider getting a poster like with the same information for your location, just let us know. And then we can maybe tweak a few little things, because Boulder County Housing Authority residents, they get free eco passes. So we say like eco passes are available, but if it was outside of a Boulder County Housing Authority site, then we probably would like check to see if you can get pass assistance somewhere else or something. We wouldn't say eco passes to do that false promises. So I see that access on demand, we did not have that on there necessarily, but I do think that adding some language to Access-a-Ride would be a good option. And then also at some of the sites, we have ride hailing, and we could probably add it here saying check Access-a-Ride for like up to like so many free rides. I don't know how specific we would want to get, but that's a good point, Megan. So I don't know if, and yeah, Z-Trip as well. So we have Z-Trip. Let me show you the website, because there are a lot more options on the website. And we were looking at ones that were subsidized or like more affordable, Megan. So that's why we didn't include Z-Trip, but in some of the locations we do have Z-Trip.
Okay, no worries. I was just wondering, but yeah, the access on demand, since that's a big one that people are trying to explain these days, or RTD and stuff like that,
yeah,
it is an option.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for the reminder on that. So I'll show you really quickly, this is kind of, so this is the mobility options page, which all of those flyers will have a QR code that goes to. People can book an appointment with Mobility for All if they have questions about how to get around. And we've been seeing more bookings appointments. This has been a pretty useful way to be able to serve people virtually. We also, people can call us, they can create their own mobility plan, they could use the youth transportation options. But these are called accordions. And so we have all the different types of transportation options here. And then down here we have by city. So if you click on, let's say Lyons, it talks about Lyons specific information, like where they're included. And so we included ride hailing for Z-Trip, Megan, just so you know. I don't know if you have a strong opinion against not being lumped with the ride hailing folks. So each of the towns and municipalities, they can find specific information on either the modes or like what's available there. And then down at the bottom, we have one-on-one transportation. Yes, we will include Superior. I thought we did. It's a good point, thank you. Superior and access on demand. Wonderful. And then down here we have information referral services, like where can you go for one-on-one transportation assistance. So we have Mobility for All, Via Mobility Services, the Area Agency on Aging, Dr. Mack, Ride NoCo, and then we have the commuting to work. We have Boulder Transportation Connections, Commuting Solutions, Smart Commute, and then we have other resources down here that just are more general information. So we'll send this out to you all to provide us feedback on as well, to make sure that we're including everybody.
Oh, I already added the link to the.
Oh, thank you so much. Any questions or comments on this project? I see a few people. So Sarah Lee Lyons does have Z-Trip. We don't have the motor vehicle sites, but we should definitely add that on our accordions at least, Martha. So DMV as well. Any other questions, feedback? Elaine, you're okay. I'll definitely run the NIWAT one by you because you're the NIWAT expert.
Since you guys are talking about kind of ride services that might have funding options, I just didn't see it on there. Anything about non-medical transportation? So NMT, like PAR services, like we provide PAR services, but I'm guessing other companies do that as well.
We don't, because it's been really hard to engage with some of the Medicaid NMT providers, and people have to go through a case manager in order to get the non-medical transportation on their PAR, their prior authorization report, or whatever the Medicaid folks have. So
Yep.
since it's not as general, like it's not open as like open door as what some of the other services are, we did not include any of those. But do you have a recommendation on what we would, if we would put those on the accordion, like what we would say about those?
It's something I'm trying to figure out myself as well to make that better understood for some of the areas I service and some of the expansion that we're going to be seeing. So if I come up with some good wording or verbiage or something along those lines, I'd be happy to share it with you. It is a project I'm working on at the moment.
Yeah, I can see it on like the accordion, maybe like if you're in a case managed program with Imagine, check about non-emergent or non-medical transportation or something along those lines.
Yeah. And I know that additionally, yeah, like a case managed, and I believe some sorry, I'm having a hard time right now, but some healthcare costs, healthcare actually also does subsidize transportation as well.
Yeah, great. Okay, well that's I will send those out to y'all for feedback before we actually like finalize them, so that's great. And then at this point we'll just turn it over to everybody else for any other transportation updates you all may have. So I know we have lots of folks on here working in transportation field, so does anybody else have anything they want to share?
Also, Angel, in our small group, there were a few people that were new to the group. It was their first time. So I don't know if it's also a good time to, not that I want to put people on the spot, but it will be good for people to introduce themselves so that we know who they are.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, if you're new to the MAC, please introduce yourself if you feel comfortable. If not, you could just do it in the chat, say it's your first time.
Hi, I am new to this group. My name is Allison Baxter. I'm with the City and County of Broomfield.
Oh, wonderful.
And as Jessica, yeah, so we're just here kind of to get ideas and maybe for crossover. And my main update, I think Jessica encouraged me to share, was the fact that Broomfield's doing a transit needs assessment this year. We're starting that process, so it sounded like there might be some overlap in Boulder County, and maybe we can just keep each other in the loop and informed and see how that process rolls out for both of us.
Yeah, that's great, Allison. We are going to be launching our countywide transit strategic plan. So I don't know how much we've talked to everybody about it, but we'd love to coordinate, I'm sure.
That'd be great.
Thank you. Yeah. Wade, I know you're not new, but I think that would you like to like introduce yourself in case somebody hasn't met you before? Because I know you've listened in on some of these, but maybe not given updates. You're on mute if you.
Hello, my name is Wade Branstetter. I am the newer case manager here with the City of Boulder's Older Adult Services, based out of the West Agewell Center behind the primary library here in Boulder. We are going to be continuing to offer the same level, if not upping our level of services this coming year. We're going to have the case management, the special programs. We're going to try to expand some of those. One of those that actually is more transportation oriented is I was working in the fall to get a car fit, if anyone's heard of that, where they work with folks as they get older to how to make sure that they can comfortably get in and out of vehicles, how they can be safe. And they actually have an OT that comes and PT that makes sure they get set up really well in their car, so it's the safest they can be. And so we're going to offer that again. We're shooting at this point to offer it in May. We might offer it again later, like in September as well, depending on the how many people are interested, but you like schedule a time to come. It's about a 20 to 30 minute event for each person. So
Yeah.
that's going to be exciting. And we're continuing to work with age inclusive communities in these programs that we're working with and trying to make sure that we have availability for a lot of these transportation needs for a lot of the older folks that we work with.
Yeah, wonderful. And if you haven't attended a car fit session, it's great. I realized that like I was setting my car settings up completely wrong. So there's like certain ways, like your mirrors, I guess you're not supposed to be able to see your car in your mirrors, which I was always told that you're supposed to be able to see your own car. So I don't know, it's pretty great.
Did they take a little ruler and put like there's all these little neat things, and she wanted me to do it too. I thought that's interesting. We'll see. We're definitely coordinating. I don't know if I'm going to be one of the techs though.
Well, definitely let us know if we can put that in the newsletter, because I think that's something that would be great for our newsletter as well.
Super. Thanks.
Thanks.
Can
Also,
I ask,
go ahead.
can I just ask Wade to put his new email in the chat so I can email you?
Sounds good.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Julie. And then I see Brooke. I know, Brooke, I don't know if you've introduced yourself, but Brooke's new from the Ride NoCo. I don't know if you are in a place where you can introduce yourself.
Sure. Sorry, having connection issues. So if it drops, I'll put it in the chat. But hi, everybody. I am Brooke Baitolo. I use she, her pronouns, and I work with the North Front Range Metropolitan Planning Organization. Specifically, we focus in the Ride NoCo kind of division on providing access for anybody who's calling into our call center to find transportation options that are going to work for them. So we field a lot of calls from lots of counties, but our region specifically focuses on Larimer and Weld counties. And there's lots of wonderful folks on the line today whose services are the ones that we're referring them to. So we really like working and meeting with the folks here in Boulder County, just because, they're really doing a lot of great innovative work, and we want to make sure that we're, as a region, contributing to this great sense of cohesion and support. So we also have mobility committees as well for our Northern Colorado region in both Larimer and Weld counties. But yeah, so I just, what else do you want me to talk about, Angel? I'd love to chat and share things, but you tell me what you need.
No, that's it. It's just good to introduce yourself, because Ride NoCo is doing some amazing stuff with their one call, one click center, and basically coordinating rides with volunteer driver programs right out of their call center. So they're doing great things.
Yeah, thanks. So we got several phases of our project that we're working on. We're in kind of the third phase now. So the first was just to create a shared informational resource for all of our human services and transportation providers and community members to go to one place to get the info. And then progressing into where we are now, where we're trying to schedule across everybody's platforms for trip planning. So hopefully one day people will be able to just call a single phone number and get that ride scheduled, even if the person they called is not necessarily the person who normally gives that ride. So lots of coordination and trust from our providers. It's a big, long process, but really trying to make things more straightforward for folks. So let me know if y'all have questions, but I love me some transportation.
Great, thanks, Brooke. Wonderful. Any other transportation updates that you all want to share before we move to planning for 2024 panel discussions?
We also have one more introduction we could hear from Jason Green, maybe.
Oh,
Yeah, he messaged me like 10 minutes ago saying that he had an incoming call and that he will be back hopefully, but I'm assuming he's not back yet, but maybe after we do the work that we are planning to do.
Yeah. If you have updates that you think of when you're doing the breakout sessions, we'll provide time like at the end, but we'll go ahead and move on for start planning our schedule for 2024. So I'll share my screen again. So just so you all know, we've talked about doing switching things up a little bit for 2024. So we're going to do panel discussions in March, June, and September. Then we will do presentations from outside partners or whatever in February, May, August, and November. And then the other months that aren't covered here, and I'll provide an overall listing of this in the newsletter that goes out next week, will be internally focused on implementing the Mobility and Access for All Ages and Abilities Plan. We will have 3 in-person sessions. So April will be in Lafayette at our new Southeast Boulder County hub. July will be in Longmont at the St. Vrain Hub, and then Boulder will be in October at our building at Community Planning and Permitting. So what we're going to do now is we're going to brainstorm for panel discussions. So I know one in particular that I would like to schedule next year is like healthcare access. So kind of maybe having some panelists that really focus on like barriers to accessing healthcare, because I think it's hard to get those healthcare folks involved in the discussion. So if we can do a panel discussion, that would be great. But what we're going to do for our breakout sessions are jam boards. So if you're new to the MAC, the way we do jam boards, generally speaking, is we assign breakout room numbers. So if you are in breakout group number 1, then you would be breakout group number 1 on our jam board. And I'll show you all here in a minute. Let me pull it up. So this is our panel discussions. Let me share so that you all can see. So this is what Jamboard looks like. It's pretty, like functionally, it's kind of like a PowerPoint. So you have over here some Post-its, so you can type whatever you want as far as your brainstorming. So we'll have one person in each group be able to take notes and update the Jamboard. So breakout group number 1, if I was in that, I would put my name of all the other people in the group. And then you would brainstorm what are some panel discussion ideas that you think we should do in March, June, and September. And so to navigate, you would go up here to the next one. So this is breakout group 2, 3, 4, and 5. So we'll do 5 breakout rooms.
Angel, instead of saying up here, can you just actually describe where you're moving your cursor? I don't think people can follow fast enough when you say here.
Oh, okay, thanks. So right here with my the purple cursor right here, you can see there's like a little rectangle up there with arrows. So you can push each side of the, basically scroll right, push on the right side, to scroll left, push on the left side. So at the top of each of the slides, what's that?
Oh, sorry. I was reading the inside of the rectangle says 1 of 5, 2 of 5, so you can tell which board you're on.
Yeah, it does tell you which board you're on. And then also at the top of each slide, there's breakout group number 1. But I'm going to go ahead and share this link in the chat, and you should be able to edit. But once you get into your breakout rooms, please identify who's going to be your note taker, and like basically take roll, put your names, the group names, that way we can know who to call out. We'll spend about 15 minutes doing this. So please, before I actually open up the breakout rooms, please somebody double check that they can edit. So click on the link that I just put in the chat and see if you can edit just by adding.
Did you put it in the chat, Angel? I don't, oh wait, maybe.
Yeah, it's in the chat.
Sorry.
So it looks like there's a lot of people in, and that people, excuse me, and that people are able to edit. Excuse me. Okay, thanks. So I'm going to go ahead and open up the breakout rooms. Maybe. Okay, here we go. So I'm opening up the breakout rooms. I'm going to recreate them so that we have a new group of people. So when I open it up, you can go ahead and go. Thank you, Brooke, for putting your email in there. So I'm going to go ahead and open up the breakout rooms. And again, we'll have 15 minutes and then we'll debrief. So you'll have, your team will be able to talk about the panel discussion ideas you discussed. welcome back. I think that there's still some people trickling back in, so. Welcome back. Okay. Can everybody hear me? Are we back in?
Yep.
Okay, great. So we'll go ahead and I'll start calling on different groups. This time we'll just go group 1 through 5. So group 1, I'll go ahead and share the screen if you all, and I'll turn it over to you all to talk. So it was Laura, Zoe, Lindsay, Gail, Rebecca, and Jessica. Who did you have that was going to give updates?
I'll give an update. We talked a lot about e-trikes, especially with those being a good option for older adults versus the regular traditional e-bicycle. And we got into talking about sharing resources in terms of outreach, especially sharing e-trike options with Spanish speakers and people who primarily speak other languages. And talking about safety in terms of who has the right of way on sidewalks and paths. What are the kinds of safest helmets for e-transportation? And also, what is the general safety when you're on the road with your e-bike? We really wanted to have a panel that might provide perspectives considering all different populations, an opportunity for residents and interested people to ask questions from experts, and yeah, all things e-transportation. The other ideas that we had were an opportunity to connect on advocacy when the state legislative session in 2025 is gearing up. We want to talk about how does Mobility for All get active and connected with this process, so that way we are all have a unified message for the state legislative session. Finally, we brainstormed how we might share information about Prop 123, which is the Transportation Plus Housing. We want to talk about resident self-sufficiency and how that relates to the priorities in this proposition. We really want to highlight how transportation fits underneath climate action and environmental stewardship. So, from transportation with e-bicycles and safety to advocacy and legislature, we are very interested in panel discussions about these topics.
Wonderful. And I see that, like, for the advocacy one that you all put, probably best in September. For the other two, for like e-trikes or the housing plus transportation, do you see any other months that would be like a good fit for that?
Oh man, not that comes to my mind, but maybe others in the group have an idea.
The Bike to Work Day, is that in what month?
June.
June. Well,
Yeah.
Bike to School is May, Bike to Work is June. Yeah.
Let's do
February, winter Bike to Work Day.
during
Yeah.
like a warm month.
So maybe the bike might be like best in
June,
June potentially if we move forward with that one. Okay.
Angel, this is Rebecca. I was going to say that there's a regional housing conference at the end of January. I'm wondering if March would be good for the Prop 123 transportation.
Yeah, and
But
perhaps we can broaden it to be like housing plus transportation panel discussion versus just that one, right? But yeah, I think that's great. Okay, well, before we start planning out our 2024 agenda, let's listen to the other 4 groups. But anybody have any questions for Zoe and her crew in group 1? Okay, thank you. We'll go ahead and move to group 2, which is Lisa, Robert, Allison, Kelsey, and Martha. Does anybody want to be the spokesperson for your group? Yeah.
The notes that I put in there didn't show.
Ah,
I had lots of good notes.
oh, I'm sorry.
Should
Did
I-
Maybe they
they
should
end
I-
up on a different board?
Yeah, were they on
No.
this board maybe?
No, they were on the YouTube board. Should I share those?
Yeah, if you want, or I can, do you want me to go to the next one and come back to you, Robert?
No, I'm saying, should I click the share button?
Yeah, sure. Here, let me go ahead and stop sharing, and then you can just share what you have.
Okay, there it is.
Okay.
All right. We talked about the some transit-oriented development, making sure that the accessible transit options are near where housing is being developed.
Uh-huh.
Engaging medical providers so that they understand that the importance of transportation, especially with our aging and population, and for individuals with disabilities.
Mhm.
We talked about where someone suggested that maybe that Governor Polis may have suggested an RTD overhaul, but that was not confirmed. Rural opportunities in mountain areas, improving access, and then the logistics of those improvements, and both financial, political, and political and geographical, where to put the extra stops and whatnot. Talked about funding opportunities and creative budgeting, how to get things done without necessarily increasing the cost. Talked about front range passenger rail, and that's spelled wrong. In the peak services study. Better services for transportation through Medicaid, and how that's provided and funded, and how people can access that, and what types of transportation they can access through them through the Medicaid fund. Senior living access, facilities access to transportation, including the seniors as part of the building plan. And there's a slogan that's championed by people that were trying to get their push for rights for people with disabilities. Nothing about us without us. So they need to be consulted when things are being developed that will serve them in particular. And transportation demand management is part of the land use process. And we're talking about multifamily housing, people being educated on how to use public transit, and then the resources that are available. And the last thing was wages for drivers and driver retention, because as wages go up, that inevitably that cost is passed on to the consumers. But if we can't keep drivers, then we really, essentially have nothing to work with.
Yeah, great. Well, thank you. That was a great update. Does anybody like anything else to add from Robert's group? Okay, well, thank you so much, Robert. I like those. There's like definitely some of the similar ideas from the first group, like with the housing plus transportation connection, and then also transportation demand management and rural. I like that, rural transportation options. Okay, next we have group 3, which is Darcy, Cami, Natalie, Ronnie, and Megan. Who was the spokesperson for your group?
We didn't really pick a spokesperson. Group, is it okay if I speak? Cami took notes, and so we should have nominated someone to speak, but I'm happy to do it.
Okay, wonderful.
So, yeah, you can put up, I think all of our notes are, do you want to display them, or?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and share them.
Yeah, there we go. Okay, so a lot of synergy with things that have already been mentioned, including the transportation housing connections we were talking about, the policy that was just passed that was mentioned with the county housing bill. So more funding for housing, that's great. Commissioner Locheman has spoken very well about the importance of transportation as part of housing, and we'd like to hear more and more of those kinds of conversations, which really need to go hand in hand also with conversations about transportation and jobs access, about affordability and access to, you know, transportation options, to jobs, being able to live where you work. That, you know, how do we help people live more closely oriented lives so that we're not having to, you know, transport ourselves all around the region. But also regional transportation is very important. So there were some connections to, you know, looking at that regional connectivity, but then also trying to kind of centralize and localize people's lives so that, you know, you can live where you work. The Boulder Chamber has this program called Boulder Together, which is really focused on that kind of workforce, housing and transportation needs. Let's see. So, RTD is undertaking a study of accessibility to various stops and the different amenities that are around those stops. We think this would be a really interesting discussion about people's access, accessibility, amenities, and all the things that people need as part of transit. You know, transit can't just like put you out in the middle of nowhere. It's got to be connected to things that people desire. So that conversation is really important. And then, you know, I brought up this thing about how do people learn how to travel in a, you know, dignified way when you have a life-altering event in midlife, you know, a cancer diagnosis or something is happening and you have to travel away to get to treatment, and you don't want to always have to rely on other people. So I know that there are a lot of great people in this community who could speak about adjusting to life-altering events and how to, you know, rethink your transportation options and abilities. And then along with that, also looking at people who have fixed incomes, older adults, and the challenges that they face in figuring out how to get around, and, you know, the data that's being collected about that, and how we can really understand those needs better. Did I get it? Transportation and safety. We always want to bring safety into these conversations. So I think safety could be a big part of any of these. I mean, whether you're, you know, just adjusting to a new life condition and you have to be able to travel safely, you know, being able to get around safely when you work an alternate shift or an non-traditional you know, work hours. I mean, the safety, I think, is part of all of these conversations as well. So, but, you know, just having more conversations about how do we help keep people safe as they're getting around the region. So anybody else from our group can chime in if I missed anything.
I love it.
Thank you very much, Darcy.
Sure.
Yeah. And I do think like in January, we'll talk about like which one of these or which of these ideas are better as like presentations versus panel discussions. And we'll kind of try to like capture a lot of this moving forward for the whole year. So go ahead, we're going to go ahead and move forward to group 4, which was Penn, Stephanie, Julie, and Wade, and Sue. Sorry, that was like next line. Who wants to speak for your group, number 4?
I can go ahead and share. So we put things under each month, but they don't necessarily have to go there. We didn't really discuss much about the timeline of these topics, so they're just kind of placed wherever. But yeah, so one of the first idea that we had was maybe having a panel talking about like ride shares and access on demand and some of the barriers and the issues that folks are experiencing when traveling with service animals. Like maybe inviting Lyft and Uber. I know that Dr. Mack has been kind of having some of those meetings too, so maybe there's something we can do to kind of collaborate on that and join forces. But yeah, just kind of talking about like riders being denied rides, being dropped off in the wrong locations, rides being dropped, that kind of thing. We also talked about maybe talking about some new safety measures for bicyclists. Someone had mentioned in our group that there's a new section in Louisville for bicycles to travel, and there with that are new like rules that bicyclists can use. So in that section in particular, bicyclists can ride through stop signs if they can see both ways are clear. So maybe just kind of having like a panel just kind of talking about like general like bike rules of the road and things like that, different projects and bike paths that are around. We also talked about maybe having a panel on just like financial access to transportation. Just, you know, if someone isn't able to afford a ride, what options are available, if there's like programs around, how do they access those programs, things like that. We talked about maybe some kind of panel on like multimodal transportation options, the different programs that are available for folks to access like e-bikes and things like that. Because I know just in a few of the meetings that I've been to, there are a few organizations that offer those and have programs that some folks might not know of. So that was an idea. And then we also talked about how to direct and navigate transportation questions when either if you are a rider yourself or if you're a service provider, just figuring out how to get the correct answer in a timely manner. So some group members were saying that they've experienced some providers that they've called, like you have to leave a voicemail, they don't pick up live. So it's kind of difficult to get that answer. And it could be just as simple as having like an FAQ section on your website or something like that. Just a way to kind of navigate the different systems that are out there. So
yeah, I like that. FAQ, and then also expectation management around like when they're going to be able to answer the calls and when they're not. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Does anybody else from group 4 have anything else to add to that? No. Okay. So last but not least, we'll go ahead and go to group 5. So we have Brooke, Elaine, Frank, Katrina, and Sarah in group 5. So who wants to provide the update for group 5?
I can do it.
Okay.
I just gotta zoom in on my computer a little bit because it looks really small. Okay, so our ideas, guess which one this was? This was definitely me. Was the autism awareness and how transportation affects people with autism, because I'm autistic myself and I'm very happy to disclose and to teach people because it's really important and it affects everybody's lives. There's a lot of different things in safety, driver training, etiquette, communication. Some people with autism are nonverbal, but they have very specific needs that need to be met. So that was one. And then one of them was about like driving safety for youth, how we can support them 15 and older kind of idea. Road safety awareness, whether or not they get a license, just kind of, we talked about like they don't really teach that in school. So like, I mean, I don't even really know like road safety, but I don't drive. So like a lot of people that don't drive don't know road safety. So we talked about that just as more awareness for youth, just because there's a lot of yucky things happening, car accidents and things like that. Awareness building for the variety of transportation options across the lifespan, specifically how to find options for aging parents that either can't drive anymore or don't want to drive anymore or probably shouldn't drive anymore but are kind of stubborn. Like, how do we support them? Workforce training, that was kind of one that Frank brought up, and that was an idea that about so he said for VIA there's a high schooler that is an apprentice that's going to learn some mechanic things. So development for apprenticeship programs, incoming drivers, mechanic safety kind of things. He talked with me a little bit about like, because my dad got hurt a couple of weeks ago trying to fix a car, and that was a bummer. And it's just, there's a lot of things that are kind of dangerous in your own garage that you don't even know, you don't see it coming, and it's scary. And if you don't have somebody with you, it can be really scary. So like, how can we maybe improve mechanic safety in our community, especially with electric cars coming and a battery, and that's dangerous. We talked about e-bike safety too. I know a lot of people talked about that, so that's really awesome. And then general education for the whole population on street safety. Oh yes, that's the one we talked about. I didn't know that was in a separate sticky note, so that's one too. And I think that's everything.
Perfect. Wonderful. Does anybody have, those are great ideas. I love them. Does anybody have anything else to add to that from your group?
I mean, I mean, from my group, Sarah brought up something that was interesting because my son, he's 20 and he is autistic. And just the other day, he's never driven. You were saying a lot of folks don't. And I had to tell him one day, Saturday, we were driving. I'm like, you really need to be careful when there's snow and ice because people can't stop. They're not going to stop as fast. They might not be in all four-wheel drive, but even if there's ice. And just had to kind of say, you just need to kind of chill. People will run reds more normally because they don't want to slam the brakes on. So some of that kind of stuff is really helpful too. I don't think, it's when you see something that kind of, I thought somebody was going to do that to me. I'm like, I don't have, but he did, and he turned, but I thought he was going to cross in front of me. And I thought, oh, really on this day you're doing that? But anyway.
Oh man, that's so scary.
It is.
Good.
Just those things that people might not know or think about, like, oh, you can't stop as quickly or whatever if you're not used to. I mean, you kind of know that, but just those reminders are nice.
So that's good. I think, yes, best practices with safety, and yeah, we have a lot of wonderful things to look at here, and we'll try to do our best as staff to kind of compile and come up with ideas that clump some of these together. And maybe in January we'll focus on which of these do we want panel discussions? Do we want to use some of these ideas for presentations in addition to some of the project plans that we might get presentations on? Thank you so much for doing the group discussion. We have about 5 minutes left, and I know that there's a couple of updates that there might be. I know, Steph, I called you out for the Dr. Mac. Do you want to share about the Dr. Mac lunch?
Yeah, definitely. Thank you. Thank you so much for reminding me. I can, if it's okay, can I just share my screen to pull up the flyer?
Of course. Yeah.
Talk to. But yeah, so Dr. Mac, for those who know us, for those who don't, we're Dr. Mac, the Denver Regional Mobility and Access Council. And part of what we do as Dr. Mac is kind of function as the Regional Coordinating Council. So we oversee 9 counties of the Denver metro area, Boulder being one of them. So this is one of the groups amongst our local coordinating councils. And during the pandemic, a few of our counties, the groups weren't able to really meet anymore. So recently we've been really working to get those groups back up and running. So because of that, and because of we want to recognize all of the hard work that everyone's doing across those 9 counties, we're hosting a LCC appreciation lunch. It'll be in person, which is exciting. Dr. Mac hasn't hosted an in-person event in a while, so I'm excited to meet everyone in person. But it'll be on January 17th from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Currently, it will be at the Via Mobility office in Denver. So that's 6500 Franklin Street in Denver, Colorado. And I will paste the link to our website in the chat. But on this website here, where I can't access the chat right now, of course. On our website here, we have more information if you want to learn more about the local coordinating councils. There's some brochures that kind of explain, the purpose of them, who can be involved, the different stakeholders. And then if you scroll down on that webpage, there are links on where you can register for each of the county's local coordinating councils. So if you're interested in joining any of the other ones in addition to this group, you're more than welcome to do that. There's links on there to do that. So we hope to see everyone's invited. We hope to see everyone there. We just ask that you RSVP by December 20th before the end of the year happens. And you can do that by just emailing Latoya Pranti. I mistyped her email, so I'll retype that in the chat, but you can just RSVP by emailing her. And yeah, there'll be food, we'll have some speakers, we'll have some awards. It should be a good time. So hope to see you all there.
Great, thank you, Stephanie. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Is anybody else planning on going? I know that like I'm planning on going. Anybody else want to have get together and attend?
I plan on going.
Lisa, Megan, great.
Yeah, I'm excited to go. Angel, you know I'm going, but
I
I'm
do.
excited.
And I know you're excited to go too.
Well,
Yay.
yeah, I'd see what appointments they've set up for me, but I would love to go. And since I'm talking anyways, I have started a blog on VIA. I put it into the chat. We did a great job of Colorado Gives, but what I'm going to be writing about concerns this group because it's from where I sit. It's about wheelchair travel and transportation. So I think Zoe put the whole thing up there.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
And so, and also, if you have writers who want to talk to somebody or whatever, or you have a story for me, there's a contact form on it. So.
Yeah. Wonderful. Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Cami. Do you want to share that?
Oh, sure. I just put in the chat. It seemed like there was a lot of suggestions for e-bike resources because we know it's a hot topic. And I think I'm not sure if it got shared. So sorry if it's a repeat, but we have to call out and give major kudos to Community Cycles. They have an amazing, robust e-bike hub full of links to probably lots of questions you and yours might be interested about, or your clients. And then the second link I shared was to our webpage that we created for like youth and teens. So it has a lot of those legal specifications of what you can do at a certain age versus what you can't. And the e-bike safety messaging campaign that we created that I mentioned earlier generally wasn't created with the intent that anyone could take the messages that we created for youth and be able to adapt them for any age group. And I didn't say that before. So while those resources haven't been built out yet, that's sort of the idea down the road that they will eventually. But any of you now are more than welcome to take the messages from the flyers and from the social media campaign as soon as it's shared, and feel free to adapt them to your specific population as you see fit. And then we'll work on building out kind of the population specific elements, just like we did for youth to start with. The goal is that we'll keep going with that for different populations, but just wanted to make sure that, you know, there's a lot of safety and legal information being shared fast and furiously right now, as the rebates are kind of a robust topic right now.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Cami. I appreciate it. So I know we're at time, but just to kind of wrap up here. So again, we have 3 in-person MAC meetings next year in April, July, and October. Here's the full agenda of like when we're going to do internal implementation of the Mobility and Access for All Ages and Abilities plan versus external presentations versus panel discussions. So we'll send this out in the newsletter that comes out next Monday. And then our next meeting is January 16th. So we'll include the new registration link for you to sign up for the reoccurring meeting, which will be on the 3rd Tuesday of the month at 1 p.m. So just thank you so much for all of your work this year. I think that we've had some great presentations, like great engaged community here. So I just really look forward to carrying out the Mobility and Access for All Ages and Abilities plan in 2024 with y'all. So thank you.
Thank you.